Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Joining me, I have, I'm Sam.
I'm Karina.
I'm Blake.
So, Karina, this is something that we've had in the works for a while. I think this is like our fourth or our fifth podcast, and you're technically our first guest that's kind of like outside of the channel a little bit, in a sense. Rob, I guess, was kind of like the first extra, and now it's kind of like you. So what all do you have to bring to the table today that's going to make us a fantastic podcast?
Well, some of it is stuff that has to do with like mental illness and how that's viewed in our society. And then another thing I was actually just looking at was like the difference of men and women Olympians and like how they're kind of portrayed in our media.
Going to be a fantastic one today. So the Olympics are going on right now. We've got all that jazz. Michael Phelps is doing supposedly his last swim tonight. Ledecky is absolutely destroying world records left and right. We watched her last night, and it was, how long of that? Was it like an 800 meter?
Mm-hmm.
800 meters. And it wasn't even close. By the time she finished, the other people were still on the other side of the pool, and she was just sitting there chilling. She beat the world record again.
That world record was actually her own record that she beat from a few months ago.
Go figure. Yeah, so she's doing well. USA seems to be doing okay. I'm not following the Olympics too closely, so I don't know everybody that's doing well and stuff like that, but it seems like the USA is doing pretty well in swimming. That's the general consensus. I know Team USA basketball is going on. Apparently they have air rifles. Like I guess that was the first event. I think that's what Rob was saying. Apparently they have like an air rifle thing, and you take an airsoft gun and you're trying to shoot at a target with an airsoft gun. Apparently that's an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I watched a little something with guns last night. They were doing like rapid fire or something like that, where they have to shoot 5 targets consecutively, and how many targets you shoot is like you add them up, and at the end, whoever shot the most targets wins. I don't know it's like little pistols they get shot with, and I'm not sure the parameters of like the time limit they have to shoot those 5 targets, but it looked pretty interesting.
Yeah. Were they real guns or were they airsoft guns as well?
They looked like real guns.
Okay.
They were loading like actual bullets into them, so I'm not sure what caliber they were shooting. I can't assume really too high since they have to shoot them fast and accurately.
It's probably not a 45.
No, you're not gonna walk in with a big old Magnum, Dirty Harry, and just go off with it. No, they had like really customized pistols too. They like had like wooden stocks so that they could fit into their wrist. Like it was a weird looking pistol.
That makes sense.
It looked like a pipe pistol from Fallout 4. Like, not even gonna lie.
That's pretty silly. There's actually a few sports in there that I didn't know that they would have. Like, I didn't know, what was that with the swords?
Fencing,
yeah, that's big.
I didn't know fencing was an Olympic sport.
Badminton,
archery.
Mark Nutt,
yeah, of course.
There used to be ping pong, but I don't think it's in there anymore.
I'm sure it is.
I think they took it out.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Probably because nobody wanted it, except for the Asians.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how ridiculously fast people have to be like hitting those ping pongs?
It's not only fast, but they are so far back from the actual table itself. It gets pretty crazy, and if you watch like old clips of ping pong Olympics, it was pretty nuts.
I think I saw a commercial of them actually going at it.
Those Asians know how to play ping pong.
They were going really hard. They were standing like a good 6 feet back from the table, and they were like diving for this ping pong ball.
Yeah, they're nuts.
It's cool.
Same thing with badminton, though.
Yeah.
They go crazy.
That's a little different, though.
Badminton's fun.
It's a lot of fun. Last time I played was high school. I think
in gym class, yeah.
In gym class,
Good old gym class.
I remember, I think we set up like a tournament and everything like that, and we played through that. I think I did okay. I don't think I was like the champion of my class, but
It was Rayberg and I on the same team. We did pretty well.
yeah.
Me and Rayberg were pretty good at the badmintons. And then for volleyball, it was always me and Mark on the front line because we were just the tallest people in the class.
That's how it's got to go.
And we were beasts.
Uh,
Anyways, Serena Williams lost in tennis.
I heard about that.
Did not win. I think she lost in like the 4th round. She didn't even pick up a bronze or anything.
She actually got, I think her and her sister got bounced in the first round of the doubles, which has never happened for them. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. It seems like there's a changing of the colors going on right now, and we're starting to get some of the new athletes coming up that are like replacing our old superstars. Like Michael Phelps is on his last one. Serena and Venus Williams are pretty well. They're starting to rotate out. We're even seeing it in like baseball.
During the
basketball.
Olympics, maybe Serena's still going to dominate American tennis.
She's
Or
getting
the
up,
tennis league, I guess.
She's getting up there in age. I think
She's got to be at least in her 30s.
that might be our cat in the background if you can hear that. She's having fun right now with some of her toys.
Probably
But
going to hear that.
I think she's in her mid 30s. I think, which I mean that's not old for like most people's standards, but for an athlete that's pretty old.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think she's had a really good run.
I think she has the most wins out of any female tennis player ever.
She has a lot of titles behind her, yeah.
I'm pretty sure she did okay for herself. And she is one of the biggest role models for young women athletes as well.
Yeah, that is very true.
So, Karina, what was this that you wanted to talk about with the Olympics? Your whole topic of choice here.
Alright, so it's basically talking like if we as a society talked about men in the, just kind of in general, but it uses the Olympics as like an example. If we talked about men, how we talk about women, like in context of like being a parent or like their relationship status. Alright, so this article, like satire, it says, "Congrats, girl. Fiance of former Miss California scoops his 25th medal." So it's talking about Michael Phelps. This all kind of like started after a bunch of backlash towards the Chicago Tribune. They sent out a tweet that says, "Wife of a Bears lineman wins a bronze medal today in the Rio Olympics." So it's kind of just like, instead of just saying, "Oh, hey, she won a Olympic medal," they had to do it in context of like who she's with.
Yeah, I can see why people are upset about that because, I mean, she's an Olympian. She's already pretty famous of an athlete. But, I mean, that's a Chicago Tribune, and this person has some sort of relationship with a Chicago Bears player. And the Chicago Bears are pretty big in Chicago. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, they're just trying to get a headline.
I mean,
well, there's like a couple of other tweets too. I mean, like there's this other one from England that says, "Our lionesses go back to being mothers, partners, and daughters today, but they have taken on another title, heroes." And then
referring to the Olympians?
Mm-hmm. And then another headliner said, "Oh, she had a baby 16 months ago, but she hasn't lost her edge." And that was like another thing too. I mean, if you want to use Michael Phelps as an example, I mean, yes, like when a baby's born, obviously a woman goes through more than like her husband or boyfriend or whatever does, but his son was just born in May, but you don't see that all over the headlines.
He also didn't push a 13-pound human out of his crotch and had to sit there and recover either. He was pretty well back in the pool the same day. A woman's not.
But it's different though, because he still becomes a father. Like, that's a very big life-changing thing, even though he didn't, like, physically go through having a child. That's a very life-altering thing, but you don't see that in the headlines.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It came up. They were, like, talking about Michael Phelps' kid a little bit because they're all like, what do you want your son to remember you for and stuff like that as an Olympic athlete. But, like, the point is, the guy isn't, when it's going through, yeah, you're a father now and stuff like that, that's all well and good, but you're not, this is pertaining to an athletic competition where you're physically having to do something and you physically have to train what essentially is 4 years in order to prepare for this very moment. And when you pop out a kid and you have to take, I don't know how long it takes to recover from having a kid, but that's time off that other people are spending training when you're having a kid. So, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. That makes sense for why those headlines pop up. I'm not following the big issue here with this.
Okay, well, if you don't see the big issue, you just talked about how much a person goes through training and stuff. So why should a woman be undershadowed by her husband or boyfriend's, like, status or whatever he does? Why should that, like, undershadow her own accomplishments in the Olympics?
And what example are you pointing out? Are you talking about the Chicago Bears one?
Yeah, just use that for an example.
That one, that's the way I look at that is, yeah, that is an example of it. But I mean, like, for a bronze medalist, do you know what sport she won it in?
I'm not sure. I want to say it was like judo or something, but
Judo?
I could be wrong.
Tell me, do you know who the gold medalist is that won judo? Just off the top of your head. Do you know? No? Do you know who won the 300-meter women's freestyle last night?
The 800 meter?
Is that, yeah.
The one Katie Ledecky won?
Yeah, she won that. Okay. So you do know who Katie Ledecky is, but you don't know who won the gold medal in judo. Obviously, it wasn't her. You just said she won the bronze. And we don't even know who the gold medalist is, but you know who the bronze is because they were able to link her to someone in Chicago, in a Chicago paper, with a big, team. Everyone knows who the Chicago Bears are in Chicago. And to say, like, hey, this is pretty cool. This is linking this athlete to our area. Like, I understand the whole thing. It's like, she has a name, obviously. This woman has a name, and she's more than just a wife to the Chicago Bear player. But at the same time, the whole reason for that title is so that way you can draw a link to your city and be like, hey, we have somebody that we know from our area that's in the Olympics doing something cool. Like, get excited about that. That's the thing that I see here. I don't see them as maliciously trying to knock down women a peg or something like that. That's not what I see here. I just see that they're trying to relate them to the Chicago area. That's what I see. I don't see an issue.
But at the same time, though, like, I see what you're saying, but if it were reversed, I don't think you would see that.
In what way?
Like, if the, like, I'm trying to think of how to explain it. Like, they were trying to link something to, like, their city or whatever. If they were trying, let's say, like, whatever, like a woman was, like, well known in Chicago or something, and they were, like, trying to link that, you wouldn't see them being like, oh, the husband of this person did this. You wouldn't see that in the same sense. No, you wouldn't.
That's not true.
Tell me one time when you ever seen it.
Oprah's from Chicago. Her husband is known as Oprah's husband.
I don't even know the
I don't
guy's
even
name.
think is she even married?
I know she was at one point. I don't know if she is anymore, but she was married. Do you know who it is? Do you know that guy's name?
Didn't even ever know she was married.
She was married at one point, yeah. I'm just saying, it goes both ways. It's really not as bad as everyone says. It's really not. Especially in that that case with the Chicago Tribune, people are trying to read into it and make it more of a story than it actually is. It's not a big deal. Yes, I understand it was a little disrespectful. The woman has a name, but they were obviously trying to make it so that way she's linked to Chicago. That's all they were doing. I don't see it being as a big deal where women are going to have to rip out their picket fences and swing them around.
Stedman Graham Jr.
Stedman.
That's a name and a half.
The dude's name is Stedman. Are they married right now?
From what I can see, yes.
There you go.
1986 to currently. It doesn't have an end date.
So yeah, I would assume that Oprah is still in fact
He
married.
has an ex-spouse though.
Ooh.
Glenda Graham.
Glenda Graham.
Man, Glenda and Stedman.
Oprah and Stedman. Oprah's from Chicago.
He is 65 years old.
Oprah's not exactly young either.
No, she's getting up there. She's just rich enough to sip a few cups from the fountain of youth.
She's doing her thing. She's got her Oprah thing going on. But yeah, I understand where the issue is. It's like I guess you're not really valuing the athlete there that won the bronze, but I mean, like, even you couldn't tell me who the gold medalist in judo was. You're definitely not going to be able to tell me who the bronze medalist in judo is. Without that story, there's no way you could tell me who the bronze medal in judo is. And to be able to link her like that and hype her up a little bit in an area where she's linked to, I don't see the issue here. Like how I said, it's a little disrespectful because obviously she has a name, and who knows, in the article they may have addressed her by her name. I would assume that they did. It would have been like so-and-so wife or whatever to the Chicago Bear lineman. I assume that they did that. You're just reading the headline. I assume if you went into the article, I'm pretty sure it would say her name. If not, then that's a huge oversight on their part. Got nothing to add to that? No? Pretty satisfactory? That was an easy one. I thought that you were going to lay into me and rip me apart. I was almost positive. I was kind of hoping for it. I was like begging you to like just lay into me, but...
Podcast isn't over yet.
That's true. Podcast isn't over.
Sweden's minister got pulled over for drunk driving.
For real?
And she had to resign because of it, yeah. The youngest prime minister they've ever had. Or not prime minister, just minister. A government minister. She's 29 and she had to resign because she got caught drunk driving.
That sucks.
That'll ruin your political career. That sucks. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's relatively young. She could probably come back from that years down the road if she wants to stay in it. She's not going to be able to... Well, God, I don't know. That will suck. People will bring that up later.
There's also another interesting story about something on a Swiss train. Apparently there was a dude attacking people with a knife and fire, I guess.
Knife and fire?
On a train, yeah.
Okay, I can see how you get a knife on there. How do you attack somebody with fire on a train?
I have no idea, man.
Either homeboy's got like a torch or a flamethrower or something's up here. Did you like run at somebody with like a Bic lighter?
I'm trying to read through it. I just skimmed through it to see what happened.
That would be pretty interesting. Could you imagine? I mean, like, you hear about like torches and pitchforks, but this guy sounds like legit. What would you do if someone came at you with a torch and a pitchfork? You running or you fighting? Fight or flight?
Probably run.
You running? Oh, they can throw those pitchforks.
What would you really fight them with?
Maybe you just set the train on fire.
Set the train on fire?
And then attack people with knives.
What the fuck?
The police said he had multiple knives.
He had multiple knives.
Just in case, I guess, you leave one behind. I don't know.
What the hell, man? To light the...
I don't know what he was doing lighting trains on fire. Somebody lost his marbles.
Yeah. He probably had, like, two little, like, Bowie knives and stuff like that, and he like whipped them out. And he was like dual wielding, pretending he was like a Skyrim character, some stupid shit like that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's
you
weird.
think you're safe on a train riding somewhere and just watch your back. Somebody might attack you with a knife and fire.
I mean, you could.
A flame-coated knife.
What the
You
hell?
might as well just give up. And apparently the Star Wars actor for R2-D2 died
Yeah,
recently as well.
I saw that. That was on Reddit, posted 3 hours ago. His name is Kenny Baker. I actually heard that the guy that played R2-D2 and the guy that played C-3PO hated each other's fucking guts.
Really?
Yeah, I heard that they fucking hated each other.
That's funny because they had like the best banter in that
Yeah.
series.
That might have been why, man. Because they hate each other's guts. I heard the same thing about in Suicide Squad. Jared Leto, the guy who plays the Joker, and Will Smith. I don't know who Will Smith plays, but
Thought you were about to be like, I don't know who Will Smith is. I was like, what?
yeah, I don't know who Will Smith plays. But apparently Will Smith hates Jared Leto's guts. So, I mean, it's whatever. I didn't get to go see the movie, so I don't know if...
Not a lot of good things coming out of it.
That's what I've been hearing. I've heard that they're trying to do a lot with a little bit of time. I don't know. It all depends.
I'm not rushing out to go see it, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't go to movies as much as I used to anymore. I used to be a pretty big movie buff. I would go see, like, everything. Even during the summer, I would go see, like, 2 or 3 of the movies that came out, and I'd be like, yeah, those weren't terrible. It seems like this year's summer movies have been, like, especially bad.
Like, all the movies that come out have recently just been an upset to everyone, almost. But, I don't know, the Ghostbusters movie was destined to flop. That was never a good concept of idea.
It wasn't... I wouldn't say it was a bad concept. I would say that the way that they delivered it is kind of an issue. Because from what I've heard, I haven't seen the movie, but I heard that they... it seemed like there was an agenda with how this movie came out and how the writers wrote it. It seems like the writing was pretty poor for this. Some of the actors in there are pretty big. Like Melissa McCarthy is huge right now. She's a big celebrity. She's funny as hell.
And that might have ruined them in the long run because they're down a lot of money. They'll be lucky to break even on
The actors will be fine. The actors are...
Oh yeah, they've already been paid.
Yeah, actors don't care.
I'm talking about the studio. Like, they're going to be hitting pretty hard for this because they'll be lucky to break even.
Yeah.
At the moment, they're at, like, what, 185 mil?
I couldn't tell you.
And they've came out and said the movie took $300 million to make.
Yeah.
And they've officially said that they're not making a sequel.
Really?
Yeah.
They shut that one
They were
down?
thinking about it, and then they were just like, no, not at this way.
Well,
Not
the original...
at the rate of this.
The original Ghostbusters sequel was pretty bad. Like, if you go on, like, the whole Rotten Tomato thing...
I think
they rated it
I
pretty
think the
poorly.
third one is bad. I think the first and second were okay, and then people were sick of it at the third one.
I know the first one was good. I heard that the second one was ass.
Yeah, the first one's cult classic, that's for sure. I like it a lot. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
You have a lot of big names in that at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Were big names.
Bill Murray.
I was going to say Bill Murray. He's still kicking somewhere.
Yeah. He was actually in the new Ghostbusters movie.
Was he?
He
They
has
did a little cameo of
He has
him?
a cameo in it. Apparently, every single man that's in the movie is a complete idiot. They're just stupid as hell. And they actually killed Bill Murray. Bill Murray's been
They
wanting
killed Bill Murray?
Bill Murray's been wanting that lately, though. He's been wanting to, like, die in his roles, which is weird. But it's Bill Murray, man. Bill Murray's
He's a legend.
he's a one of a kind.
He's got a lot of good movies. He's kind of like Robin Williams in that aspect. Like he's got a long list of movies that he's produced and been in and done really well in.
Yeah. I don't know, but the movies lately they just seem like
They have
crap.
not been that great.
I looked at the previews for some of the movies coming out. They don't look that great. I actually just saw it today. A YouTuber went and saw Sausage Party, the new like R-rated animated.
The one with Seth Rogen and all them.
Apparently they were like, Sausage Party was the worst movie I've ever seen, and apparently Seth Rogen liked the dude's tweet. And so then he took a screenshot of it. He's like, this is awkward.
I mean, Seth Rogen's just a voice actor, technically.
For that movie, yeah.
He's just reading lines.
I don't know. Apparently, according to that, it wasn't good. I haven't seen any of the other reviews on it or anything.
If I was an actor, I don't think I would take too much offense to somebody critiquing a film that I was a part of. Because it's
You're not really the one who created it.
I was going to say, you don't really have any creative process to it. They give you a line, you say said line, and then the movie's produced.
Yeah. But when you think about it, it's like, who do you blame for the movie being a flop? You blame the actor, you don't blame the producers and stuff like that. I mean,
suppose.
Behind the scenes,
Well, that's because the actors are actually the
Yep.
headstones of it.
Yep.
Like that's the reason people go see out certain movies. Is it's like, oh, Seth Rogen's in this, I'm gonna go see it. And then when they're upset, they're like, screw you, Seth Rogen. It sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I think in certain ways too, there are like certain movies that can have not so great acting, but still be a decent movie. Like, take for example Kristen Stewart. She's not exactly the greatest actress.
No.
And that one movie she's in with, we saw it on Netflix the other day. Jesse Eisenberg.
Oh, the kid from Zombieland, right?
Yeah. I mean, that was a decent movie, despite her not great acting.
Yeah. She has a whole thing, though.
She's
like
not
a
very
mystique.
expressive.
No.
Very monotone.
Yeah. It all depends on, like, what people like, I guess. But, I mean, like...
I don't think she's trash.
I think she's, like, typecasted now for that, because that's, like, what she is.
Yeah, that's kind of the role that she has to play.
Like,
I mean, I guess, too, like, all the Twilight movies, it was like, they made fucking bank off of that series of movies.
That's because it had a huge following.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they cashed in big. But then again, you see, like, the 50 Shades of Grey, like, that had a big following. And I don't think that the first movie did too well in the
A
box
lot of people
office.
weren't impressed.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's only so much you can show in a theater with an R rating.
Yeah. I think Aragon. I think those movies.
Yeah, that movie
were
did
absolute ass.
Yeah, I didn't mind the movie. I thought it was good. I mean, a lot of people were mad at it though.
I would say they haven't made any more.
No,
So
and that was a
there's
long time
reason
ago.
for
That was like 2008.
I don't think you guys
don't
have
know.
seen it, but I saw Finding Dory, and for a sequel, for like as how big Finding Nemo was,
Yeah,
I
that
think
didn't-
that was a pretty good sequel.
Was it a good sequel?
Yeah.
I was gonna say anybody that sees it says they like it a lot, but I mean it's a Disney animation film.
Mm-hmm.
They usually do really well with those.
Unless you're Cars, in which case, you know.
I'm excited to see the
Cars?
sequel to The Incredibles next
Oh,
summer.
that's been a long time.
I've heard about that. Is that actually confirmed?
Yes, next summer.
Really?
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's always been. I've always wondered when they were going to make another one because of
Yeah.
the whole cliffhanger ending of the first one. It's like, all right,
For a
It
long.
took long enough.
Yeah, for a lot of the times, they wouldn't do sequels to their movies, and now it seems like they're just starting to do that. They're starting to boot up some of their older ones.
It's
Incredibles
like, I
was
wonder
good. I
why
like
they're
Incredibles.
doing that now. Like, I think about it, Finding Nemo, that came out, like, I remember that was the first movie I took my sister to see. She was 2. And Finding Nemo comes out, she's almost 15. So, 13 years later, so it's like, why are you doing it now? Is it because people can't come up with new material, or what?
It might be. It wouldn't surprise me.
Well, especially because when we went and saw Secret Life of Pets the other day, some of those previews, I was just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, some
Like,
of
I
them look
had
bad.
no interest in seeing any of those movies.
That might just be a whole. That's just what we're getting this year. That just might be what it is. That's how
it's
it is.
really
It
not
almost
even
seems
around to
like movies, they're either all, like, a bunch of them are really good, they come all out around the same time, or it's just, like, crap for a while.
And yeah, that's the thing. It hasn't come around to the media part of the year yet.
Yeah.
Usually November, December, October, we get all these good films and games and media sources, just because that's the holidays. They wait for that time of year to prey on the innocent victims with their full wallets, so they can throw cash at them.
Yeah, summer movies historically just aren't like the big old like.
They're not.
I just remember,
There's a few good hits here and there. Like last year was pretty good.
Yeah.
There was like the Captain America and stuff like that. There was some pretty good ones last year. But overall, if you look at it like long term, Summer movies generally aren't like the big
They don't
hitters.
Yeah, they don't break the blocks.
No, absolutely not. But it just goes to what you're saying. They're just waiting, and it's just not the season for the movies yet, for the real big movies.
It's not the cold season.
Well, I remember like high school, we had Transformers. Like that was a big one. Yeah. Like the remake of Spider-Man.
Yeah, there's always like a movie or two that's like, yeah, that looks pretty good. This
Marvel's always been good.
Yeah.
I don't think Marvel's ever made a bad superhero movie.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
Which one's been bad?
Fantastic Four.
You didn't like Fantastic Four?
No.
The first one was okay.
I didn't
like
the
the second one they made.
Apparently, this last one that came out was...
Yeah, it was
disgusting.
Yeah.
The first one was alright. Just because, you got Jessica Alba. And then
she was alright.
Jessica Alba.
She was alright. Yeah, Fantastic Four would be a good example. Up until pretty recently with, like, what do you call it? Not the Justice League. The other one.
The Avengers?
Yeah, the Avengers. Up until, like, the Avengers and, like, the newest Batman, like, superhero movies haven't had a good track record. Like, there are the Superman movies, those were all pretty bad. Like, the first one or something might have been okay. And then, like, maybe a couple of the old Batmans. But in terms of, like, all of the superhero movies that have come out, there's a lot of stinkers. A lot of clunkers.
Deadpool was pretty good.
Deadpool, that was a great example of a good superhero movie that worked out well.
I'm very convinced that Ryan Reynolds is actually Deadpool.
Convinced?
Yes. Like, if you actually go look at his tweets and stuff, you're like, oh my god, he's the real life Deadpool.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one. Green Lantern. That movie was a piece of shit.
Oh yeah, that was
ass. That one was bad. That was a bad one.
I don't know.
Guardians of the Galaxy was good.
Oh, there was. Let's see here.
Age of Ultron. That was good.
I think they did a Daredevil movie.
Thor was good. You didn't like Daredevil?
No, Daredevil's stupid.
The blind Daredevil.
Daredevil's stupid.
I don't think Daredevil is Marvel.
I'm pretty sure he is.
He might be.
I'm pretty sure he's Marvel. I think he's done a thing with Spider-Man.
Yes, actually, yeah. 2003. That's an old movie.
The Incredible Hulks. Those have all been crap.
You don't like the Incredible Hulk?
No.
I like
They
that
look like shit too.
What?
They look awful.
I'm a big fan of the Hulk. The Hulk movies were good.
No, they're not. They're really bad. I don't know if you would consider Spawn, but Spawn was pretty bad too. There's been, in terms of it, we're looking at it like
all
most
the X-Men
recently.
were good.
I don't know about all of them. You want to talk about some of the Wolverine movies?
I like Wolverine movies.
I don't know about that. Overall, up until recently, superhero movies have been pretty shit. And it seems like we're starting to get into like a golden age. Like, Marvel has definitely seemed to have found a formula on what works for a superhero movie. DC, it's hit and miss, it seems like. The really, really dark taking of The Dark Knight, that was really, really good.
Do you think that the Marvel movies being so good might have something? I don't know if they're like owned by them now, but they're definitely like with Disney now. Like, if you go down to Disney, they have like Marvel, stuff on their cruise ships.
Well,
like
we just gotta
different interactive stuff.
We gotta come to terms with Disney owns everything.
Well, when did that acquisition happen of Disney buying Marvel? Because I think that was within the last few years. And the Marvel movies, like the superhero movies, those were coming out. I'm pretty sure they were coming out before the...
2009.
They bought them in 2009?
Yeah.
Okay.
$4.2 billion.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I honestly can't tell you the years of like superhero movies.
I just had a list of them pulled up.
I'm pretty sure that...
It's like the last 7 years.
I think it's been longer than that, hasn't it?
What? Of good movies?
Of good superhero movies.
Well, Disney's owned them since 2009.
Okay, so that's 7 years, give or take.
There's been a lot of good ones that have come out before that.
That's what I'm thinking. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure that there's stuff that came out before Disney acquired them.
Oh, yeah. The Spider-Mans.
Spider-Man's
all the
weren't
old
terrible.
Spider-Mans.
The third one wasn't great. I didn't like that one too much.
Can't remember that one.
They wasted.
Is that the one with what's his name? Venom?
Yeah, they wasted him. They wasted that character completely.
Oh, speaking of Disney, too, do you guys remember that whole story about that little boy and the alligator?
Yeah.
Down at Disney World?
The alligator ate him, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I read a thing.
There
It was
an
in
alligator
some,
in Disney World?
Mm-hmm.
It, killed a 2-year-old boy.
How did an alligator get in Disney World?
It was in, by the Grand Floridian Resort. They have, little ponds of water. They have water.
And they didn't know the alligator was in there?
They know alligators are in there. But they had signs posted, and the little boy went in there, and he got killed, unfortunately. So a couple days ago, I saw in a article in a Orlando newspaper that one of the cast members, that's what they call employees at Disney, she actually got fired because after that whole incident, they posted a thing in the break room or something that if people say oh, are there alligators around here or something, they're supposed to say something along the lines of I've never seen an alligator around here, but if you see anything, let one of us know or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I guess this one cast member, she refused to do that because she's I'm not gonna lie about it. So she got fired immediately, and as soon as this newspaper published that article, the president of the Magic Kingdom went back and rehired her.
Yeah, no one's ever said Disney's the perfect, they're out for their employees. No one's ever said that about them as far as I know.
I mean, I won't say their names, but I do know a few people who did work there for a while during college, and they said the wages that you get are absolutely ridiculous, and they make you work ridiculous hours. I know a couple of them were working 80-hour work weeks.
Oh God.
And the amount of work they did in comparison to their break lengths and stuff like that was absolutely ridiculous.
Tell them to bring it up with somebody. There's a workers' association for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and just in case you're wondering, Blake, Walt Disney World is 40 square miles, or the size of San Francisco, so it's pretty big. And I mean, Florida is all water and stuff, so that I'd imagine that's pretty difficult to control, what goes in and out of there.
You think they would have some kind of system to check, though, or that they would have annual animal control people come in and check and take care of them?
Well, and I saw too in that same article, because Disney, they have their own police and their own firemen and stuff. I guess some of the firemen down there have actually been caught feeding the alligators and stuff.
What?
Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not, but
They're pets. They're little Disney pets.
Yeah, definitely want to feed those alligators, man. I don't know. I mean, it's Florida. There's alligators down there.
There are.
They sneak in everywhere.
But I mean, with the amount of children that are there, you'd have
That's
to
true.
kind of take some kind of
That's
strict
true.
protocol. Because when you get little children running around, children are children. You can't control them all the time. They'll go off and run away from their supervisors
curious.
or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll try and explore, and they explored the wrong part of the mouth end of a creature
Yeah,
that shouldn't be there in the first place,
that's
because
true.
they have hands down enough money to take care of any problem with the park.
Yeah, that's true. It's unfortunate, but yeah, I could see how fucking little alligator could sneak in somewhere.
Yeah, but that's
And
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
they
like,
did have like
you have to
signs
have-
posted like no swimming, but I mean they were not that big. But now, like their solution to this, they posted bigger signs and put like rope, and they were like, there are alligators and snakes around here.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to deter a little kid.
I mean, if you're a decent parent, you should be able to see your fucking kid running towards the water like that.
Rip Harambe, dude. Did they shoot the alligator?
Yeah, they actually killed 5 of them trying to find
There were
one.
5?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Why are they not taking care of these things? There has to be like some kind of like guideline to where they have to like put on a calendar where they'd have to have people come by and check if there were creatures lurking around.
I mean,
I can't believe that's not a thing that they don't have.
Up until this point, no one's been eaten by an alligator at Disney.
That we know of.
Yeah, I guess.
I was
but-
going to say, money talks, so they have the power to keep stuff hush-hush if they want.
Well, that, and it was just recently that everybody's gotten into being social on the interwebs, and like anything that happens anywhere, everyone knows, no matter what.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if like all the crazy shit in the world, if this stuff has always happened, or people
We're
just,
just
more
more connected.
aware of it
Yeah.
because of social media
I was
and
gonna
stuff
say-
like that. And just how easy
The leader
it
of
is
Russia
to
could fart, and
access
we would know 5
information.
minutes later.
Yeah. I think it's just, I don't know. I could go on about that, but I'm not going to.
I think that's all Disney's fault. If an alligator on their premise eats a child,
Yeah.
there has to be some kind of guidelines that they should be following.
It's fault on everyone's part, though.
I do understand that it's in Florida and it's hard to control those alligators. They are pesky. But there has to be some kind of law or something that has to have a person come by and check every now and again. Especially with how much people flow through there.
Yeah. That's why I'm sure that Disney got a huge lawsuit against them about
Oh,
it.
yeah.
it's got to be massive.
But, I mean,
I'm sure whatever person lost their child is getting a large paycheck, but you can't. Obviously, you can't repay them for a missing child.
yeah. It's on both sides. It's on parent, it's on the Disney as well. It's on both. They both messed up. That's what the outcome was. An alligator ate a kid. That's what happened.
Man, that's crazy that happened. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
I can't believe you didn't know that.
Yeah, it was pretty big for a
It
while.
was all over.
There were all
Unless
kinds
it's a
of...
meme, I don't know about it.
There were memes about it. That's the thing.
Was
They
it?
were- yeah.
I didn't see any alligator eating kids meme.
They were comparing it to Harambe. They were... That was, it was like a month after Harambe got shot, man. That all went down. The alligator came out. But yeah, there were like memes. It was like, here we go again. And they did, apparently. They killed 5 alligators trying to find this kid, man. So, yeah, that happened.
Man, that's crazy.
I thought we talked about it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't think we ever talked about alligators eating, or a kid getting
And I
eaten by an
think, too,
alligator.
if I remember, I could be wrong, but I don't know if the alligator actually ate the kid. I actually think the way his body wasn't intact, but he actually died from drowning because the alligator, took him underwater.
Well, yeah, that's what they do. They do the little spin, and
Yep. Death roll, man. That's what that's called.
that's when they shred them up.
I watched some Swamp People, man. That's
Oh,
that's
man.
how I learned about that.
My freaking
Dude, that
parents
used to be
love
your
that show.
favorite show.
I loved it. There was that dude
Shoot 'em.
Troy on there. Shoot him!
Oh, yeah, he's funny.
God damn it, Elizabeth!
Yeah, my dad loves that guy.
Ah, Troy Landry.
My dad and Connor would just go crazy over that show. They'd sit there and wait for the new episode to come out every week.
Oh yeah, I was big into that. I would
What,
watch the new
Swamp
episode all
People
the
or
time.
something?
Yep,
That's what
Swamp
it was
People.
called.
But yeah, man, alligators. They'll bite another alligator's leg and they'll just roll and they'll shred that leg right off of them, man. They're nasty creatures, and even when they had that hook in their mouth, they would just sit there and they just spin around.
Yep. It's their defense mechanism and their attack mechanism.
Yeah.
Because they've got so much pressure on their jaws that they just clamp on and tear. They tear whatever's in their mouth off. Or they bring you under the water and drown you.
Their bite force is unreal.
Yeah.
And then That's why they they tape their mouth, because they're not as strong opening their mouth as they are closing it. They can't open their mouth worth shit. So if you ever get jumped by an alligator,
jump on its back.
Yeah, close its mouth. Just do what Steve Irwin did, man. Just grab it by its tail.
You can't run away from me. They're fast.
They are. They're very fast.
They can
fast
run
as
shit.
20 miles an hour. Supposedly, I don't know. I think MythBusters actually tested this, and I think it was busted. But supposedly, if you zigzag, an alligator can't catch you because they can move in a straight line, but when
They're not very agile.
They're weird. But I think that the MythBusters busted that, and that they actually still can catch you.
If they want to catch you, they'll catch you.
Yeah.
And there's some big alligators out there, boy.
Big old alligators. On Swamp People, man, they caught a 16-footer, dude.
That's gross.
16 feet.
It was like, what, 700 pounds?
They're more than that. They're over 1,000 pounds. I think when you're around 10 foot, they're getting close to 1,000 pounds.
Ugh.
Let's think about that. Like a 15-foot alligator, that's almost...
Did they say how big the alligators were?
Their boat?
How does that not sink their boat?
Well, they have some pretty good boats out there.
It's not like they're just...
They make some pretty good money.
Yeah, it's not like they're floating around with, like, Papa Joe's dinghy.
I was going to say, they usually have, like, 10 to 11 alligators in their boat at one time. They're the little ones.
Yeah, they have to go back and they have to unload them sometimes, depending on how many they're catching. Ah, that was a good show, man. I remember that. I liked that. Pawn Stars was huge.
Pawn Stars is retarded.
Apparently that's becoming a meme now.
It's all stupid, fake, set-up bullshit.
I used to like Pawn Stars. What was the other one? American Pickers.
They were good. Really good. I liked them. They were funny, though.
Storage Wars was fun. I love Storage Wars, man.
What was that? The asshole that always said yep or whatever.
Dave.
Yeah.
His name was Dave. He actually...
Yep.
He got a lawsuit with a rapper because a rapper said his phrase, and so they went back and forth like, no, I had copyright on that phrase.
Does he have copyright of the yep?
Apparently,
yeah.
Apparently he has copyright of it. The very specific way that you say it and how it's spelled out and everything, apparently he has copyright on it.
That's so stupid how you can copyright shit like that.
And then he got into a whole thing with the channel because they were rigging lockers for people.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So he was pissed about that.
Any reality TV show is going to have stupid stuff on there like that.
Yeah.
I didn't believe anything on Pawn Stars. They were just characters on a TV show. I don't think any of those people came in with actual things. Half of them had to have been actors. And they were just like given the things.
I'm sure there's a couple things here and there, yeah. It wouldn't surprise me.
Especially with how the History Channel is nowadays. Yeah. There's a reason they had to start a History Channel 2.
Yeah.
It's because History Channel fucking went down the trash can.
Yeah, it's not history
Ancient
anymore.
Aliens.
Aliens. That dude's legendary too.
He's a crazy guy. Good show though. Good show.
I watched a few of it. Even though aliens freak me out, man, I watch shows on it. I learn about them. That's why they freak me out, man.
Yeah, you gotta watch the series on Netflix called Unsealed Files or something like that.
Nope.
Ooh, all about aliens.
Nope.
Like 3 seasons long. It's good.
That sounds like that'll freak me out.
There's some freaky stuff on there, man.
The stuff that's really cool to me is when they link it to like things in the past, whether it be like how they like built big old buildings and stuff like that.
Oh, like the Mayans and whatnot.
Yeah,
how do you cut through really stone if there's no stone marks or anything like that?
And they like cut these things perfect with what looks like technology better than what we have right now. Mm-hmm. And it's like, where'd that technology go? So, I mean, lately there has been a lot of scientific explanations, and actually, apparently, the pyramids were not built by slaves. Apparently, they were just like highly skilled craftsmen that were able to build the pyramids, and apparently, they're thinking it took over 600 years to build the pyramids, so they don't know like who ordered it and stuff like that. So while they're answering questions, there's more questions coming up about it. It's interesting stuff, man. It's really cool. Very, very
All the
neat.
pyramids took 600 years, or each individual one?
Each individual pyramid took 600 years. They're massive.
Ugh, that's gross.
There's a lot of stones, and the way that they moved them is not easy. Well...
So, how did they, like, decide... Because you know how those were, like, tombs for the pharaohs. How did they decide who went in there?
I don't know. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you.
I'm
That's
assuming
how it
whoever
is.
gave the order for it,
Maybe.
or whoever was the current leader and died, I guess.
It would have to, because it can't be like, oh, well, we're just going to mummify
Maybe-
you and just, like, leave you
Maybe
somewhere
they,
for 600
they sacrificed
years.
them after they finished the pyramids.
I mean, I don't know how many
Who
mummies
knows?
have been found in the pyramids. I know that there's a lot of tombs around it, and there's a lot of people that have been tomb raiding and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I don't know.
So like Indiana Jones taking them.
Yeah,
Well, that's why those were built.
they,
as tombs.
people weren't raiding the pharaoh's tomb when the pyramids were being built. The tomb raiding has been recent. They've found the different pharaoh's tombs, and they've been stealing the gold and shit out of them, and they've been fucking everything up. That's a recent thing.
They
So-
just strip the bodies too, so they decompose faster and stuff.
And then apparently the Sphinx, that was buried at one point and then uncovered by an ancient pharaoh and then buried again, and then we unburied it. And apparently its head is a completely different head. Its nose was definitely broken off.
Yeah, it fell
and
off.
apparently its head is also a reconstruction from the original as well.
Maybe it was some guy's brother that didn't like his brother, and he's like, "Fuck this guy."
I don't know. They think that the original one was a lion, actually, and it wasn't a human
It
head.
wasn't actually. Okay.
Yeah, they thought it was a lion head. Cats were pretty big for Egyptians.
Cats and jackals, yeah.
Yep. Cats were huge for them. So it's all interesting stuff, man.
Yeah, apparently, like the pyramids line up to the stars too.
Yes, they do. They have astrological,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. I'm not sure the wording, but they have alignments with the stars. There's like 3 of them. I think it's in Orion's belt.
They definitely line
But
up
they
with
line up.
Orion's belt, yeah.
It's really cool. It's interesting stuff. It's like, why'd they do that? You can say the same thing about Stonehenge. Why are these bricks sitting in the middle of a field like that? Nobody knows. A lot of people like to speculate. The Bermuda Triangle, all that stuff. It's all spooky business. All real spooky business, man. Nobody knows. We're all trying to figure it out, though. That's the fun of it, is that, I don't know. It would be absolutely crazy if it's like, yeah, aliens definitely built the pyramids. We'd be like, what? What are they doing? When are they coming back? But I don't know. I do think it's a little weird how, like, aliens, like, they haven't really come back if they had that much interaction with us to build
Well, as
stuff.
we know.
I think if they were coming back, if they were doing stuff where they would build pyramids back in the day, why haven't they come here now and they've helped us build like a new essential pyramid in a sense? Why haven't they done that recently?
Well, I mean, maybe we have been contacting them and they do whatever they do, but they would be with our governments.
It's possible. Certainly possible.
And we wouldn't know about that, and that's projected theories of why we've blown up in
I
technology
know.
the last decade or two is
I
because
guess that would make
so-and-so.
sense, though, because if, like, the general population knew about aliens, there would be, like, fucking mass hysteria, and people would lose their shit.
I'm sure initially.
Yeah, I was gonna say initially it probably. At this point, I think there's more people that believe in aliens than people that don't believe in aliens.
Yeah, probably.
My thing is just, like, the universe is way too big for us to be the only
There's
life
like
form.
there's like 8 trillion stars in our galaxy alone.
Yeah. It'd be foolish to say that we're like that we're life alone. We're the only life forms. I think that would be foolish to say just on the, like you guys were saying, the size of the universe. But like, I don't know how feasible it is to say that there's someone of higher intelligence than us, that has higher technology than us, that hasn't made their presence known at all.
I think that's part of, like, human nature, too, because we've been used to thinking we're, like, the superior being over everything else that we know.
What do you mean?
Like, we're superior over, like, every other life form on our planet.
Yeah.
And it's, like, inconceivable to people to think that there might be another life form that's more superior than we are.
If there is, why haven't they made their presence known to us?
Who knows? They might have. You just don't know.
Then they haven't made their presence
You
known
only
to
know
us.
what the people. You
if I
only
don't
know
about
what like
this.
the government and the media want you to know.
To an extent,
Wake up, sheeple!
yeah.
There's aliens!
That's what it's starting to sound like to me. It's like if the aliens really wanted to let us know that they were here, they'd let us know. They could fly a ship over us right now, and they'd be like, "Hey, surprise! Here we are. Obama can't hide us anymore." Like,
Or maybe they're just like, dude, these friggin' humans are so friggin' dumb. We don't want any association
that's
with them.
possible too.
I've watched a lot of these alien stories, man.
I'm just saying, I think it's pretty silly how.
I remember in one of my art classes in community college, it was like a non-Western art class. We were talking about like hieroglyphs and aliens and stuff, and he was like, "Tell me that aliens don't exist," because he like showed us this picture of this hieroglyph that looked like one of the spaceships from Star Wars.
Well, they do that, yeah, and then they've also found Egyptian like paper planes
Yeah.
that they made like models of back in the day, and they're like, where did they get the idea for this? Because this is way beyond people with sticks and stones carving stuff in rocks.
There's a big thing like that. There's also theories of like time travelers like going back and showing them like this kind of technology and explaining this kind of stuff to them.
Oh yeah,
There's time travel theories like that.
The end of the warp hole.
There's time travel, there's aliens, there's all kinds of theories on why, or it might just be as simple as, hey, they're not as stupid as we thought they were. That's entirely possible too. So yeah, nobody knows. That's the beauty of it, is nobody fucking knows why these things are the way that they are, why people thought the way that they thought. We don't know. That's what makes it fun. That's why we go out and we look at these things and we question these things, because it's fun and we want to know. So I'm saying that there's probably foreign life out in the universe. I just don't think it's as intelligent as we like to believe, with little green men flying around in saucers, abducting people and doing butt stuff to them. That seems preposterous.
I just think like
The butt
another
stuff is
thing
more
too
like a
is
joke.
if there weren't such a thing as aliens, how did that even like come into conception?
What do you mean? How did we?
Like, you know, when you think of an alien, you think of like a little like green dude with a big ass head and big eyes. Like,
Okay.
how does that even come into like your thoughts or ideas
It's
or
just
like
human.
concept?
It's human imagination.
Yeah.
Just like how back in the day they thought vampires were real and pointy teeth and really pale. They only come out during the night.
It's
They steal
imagination.
people's livestock and suck their blood out and stuff like that. Werewolves.
Yeah,
It's the same thing.
it's just how like anything else has been made. They just thought of aliens that
So,
way.
what do you think the difference is between like? Because I mean, you can think about like vampires and werewolves and stuff, and we're like, oh, that's just like folklore or whatever. You don't really think twice about it actually being legit. But aliens
Could be legit at some time, at one
But
time.
aliens, you're just like, yeah, aliens are real.
I've never said vampires don't exist or werewolves don't exist. They could be
Oh
real.
no, I'm not saying
Yeah.
you. I just mean like in general. I guess maybe just like logically you can make aliens seem like real than you could like vampires.
Yeah, it's easier to rationalize aliens being real just because they come from a place that is so unknown to us, and they're so mystically powerful that it's like it's entirely possible. Like, we're still out there looking for Bigfoot. We're still out there looking for Nessie.
He's there. He's there.
Bigfoot's not there, man. He's not out there. Sorry to break it to you guys, Bigfoot's not real.
He's out there, man.
But there's a TV show.
That TV show is boring.
There's
No.
TV
Nothing
shows on a
ever
lot
happens.
of stuff. That doesn't mean
So,
that
did you hear that?
it's
Yeah,
just
I heard that.
My sister watches that.
it's a
like,
couple of
Pretty
idiots
sure that's on
out
History
in the,
Channel.
I think you're right, actually. I'm pretty sure it's on the History
Stupid
Channel.
shows. And then like Monster Quest. That show was dumb.
I used to watch Monster Quest. I used to love Monster Quest. It was one of my favorites.
Really? You liked Monster Quest, huh?
Yeah, because I would see things that I didn't know were real. Like, I didn't know that there was supposedly like big fish, and they did it on practical things too. Like they weren't just like, we're out looking for Sasquatch. We're out looking for the Chupacabra.
That's the Chupacabra. I couldn't remember
love
its
the
name.
Chupacabra.
I was gonna call him like guacamole or something like that.
The Chupa thingy. The Chupa thingy is probably one
We're
of
out there looking for guacamole.
That's one of my favorite things, and there's actually some evidence to kind of like back up, not the Chupacabra that everybody's thinking, but supposedly there is like a little itty bitty kind of like dog that drinks blood.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the Monster Quest thing.
I've seen things. So if you were gonna ask me if like a Chupacabra is real, I'd be like, maybe there's like a mutation or something like that.
See, that's the thing with media too, is that you could watch a show on something and be like, yeah, I'm convinced.
I remember there was a huge thing. It was like a week long, I think, on the Discovery Channel about mermaids, and they had an entire thing, and they were like, they did like a Blair Witch Project with mermaids. It was fucking
Is that
weird.
Good? The Blair Witch Project was trash.
It was not good. They tried to make it like they were all like recording it like at the time and
That's
stuff,
so
and they
stupid.
were like, "Oh my god, look, it's a mermaid!" And it was like sitting there like flailing around out in the ocean. It was like doodling its arms around.
Magic carp looking ass.
It was so stupid. It was really, really stupid.
Yeah, I'm sure that was pretty ridiculous.
But I don't know. Aliens are. You can logically be like.
I guess it's more feasible.
The absence of evidence and stuff like that.
That's why UFOs, unidentified flying object.
People like to automatically think things. There's a lot of testing that the military does with planes and stuff, and people don't know what it is. So they're just like UFO, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's aliens." There's a lot of people that jump to those conclusions. So I don't think that we've been visited by aliens. Really don't. I could be wrong. I wouldn't be upset. Well, I would be a little upset if I was wrong, because it means that there's fucking aliens walking amongst us, man. I'm out.
I wouldn't say walking amongst us. If there were such aliens, I do believe our United Nations would have some kind of treaty with them at some point, and they would discuss things.
But they wouldn't make it public to us, or there'd be mass hysteria. Blah, blah, blah.
Well, I mean, there could be, there's two sides of that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if there were, we wouldn't probably know about it, but our government would probably do some kind of treaty or something.
I was gonna say, I'm
where
sure
you can't
there's
fly into our Earth, and we'll shoot you down with our missiles or some bullshit like that.
Who knows, man?
I'm sure there's a lot of things our government knows that we don't know.
Yeah, it'd be silly to think they don't, but at the same time, it's just like, can you really hide aliens from us? Come on. Area 51, come on. I think that's stretching a little bit. There's something when you start getting into like conspiracy theories. It's like, dude, come on, you're reaching here. Just chill out.
There's actually science behind it, man. Ufology.
You could throw science behind anything if you really want
pretty
to.
much.
That doesn't
There
mean
are
it's
paid
right.
people. There are paid ufologists.
There are.
Isn't that ridiculous?
That doesn't mean that they're batshit insane. I'm just saying. There's a reason why you get Jimbo from the farm coming out that he was abducted and not Ricky in New York City. There's a reason for that. I'm just saying.
Well, it's not all people from the rural areas that get abducted.
I haven't seen a headline pop out on a dude that was abducted in New York City ever. I've never seen that. I've never seen an alien abduct anybody from a well-populated area. They always catch them out on a country road or some bullshit like that. Seems pretty convenient, man. That just seems way too convenient to me. The truth is out there, though. Don't worry, the truth is out
somewhere, yeah.
So, Karina, what was the other topic you wanted to discuss?
Just another thing is the sick rule and mental illness. Okay. Did you do your research?
I did a whole 2 minutes of looking up the definition of the sick role, and okay, so let me see if I'm correct. The sick role is how people like perceive you to be sick. It's like if you're sick, you have to play like this role of like, oh, I have like a sneeze, oh, my body hurts, or something like that. Is that what the sick role is?
kind of. Basically, for you to be perceived, many times, for you to be perceived as sick and be, like, in the sick role, you have to, like, physically be able to, like, look sick. Whether it's, like, through you sneezing or coughing, or you've got, like, a broken arm and it can be, like, tested in, like, x-rays or some form of, like, medical testing.
Okay.
So from that you can, like, there's, like, certain ways you can look at different illnesses and see how this sick role comes into play and how that can either, like, benefit you or, like, hinder you.
All right. So you're saying, like, because I saw something on Reddit actually where a guy was complaining of, there was an entire Ask Reddit thread where it's like, what are you sick of explaining to people? And this guy was sick of explaining a migraine to people, because whenever people say a migraine, I think it now too. Whenever someone's like, oh, I have a migraine, I just think that they have a headache. Because so many, it's like they've taken the power from the word migraine. Like how people say, I hate you. Like, hate doesn't have any weight to it anymore. Or like, fuck, that doesn't have any weight to it anymore just because it's so common. It's taken away the power of the word. So saying you have a migraine, I think you're being dramatic and you just have a fucking headache and you need to stop being a baby. But people that actually have a migraine, they're physically unable to, like, do stuff. Light genuinely affects them to where they can't, like, see, they can't interact.
I've had one migraine in my life and I literally was, like, curled up in a ball with all the lights off and couldn't move.
I've had a migraine before as well. But this guy, he has chronic migraines, and rather than, he has to call into work occasionally, and he said, rather than calling in and telling them that I have a migraine because everyone just looks down on me saying that I have a bad headache and stuff like that and they don't believe me, it's easier for me to call in and tell them that I have the flu. So he, instead of telling people that he has a migraine when he calls in, he just says that he's sick and he has the flu, and it just goes from there.
Alright, so another example of this. So we actually discussed this in a class I took last semester, and my professor, her mom has had chronic back pain for 15 years. I don't know exactly, like, what was going on with, like, her spine or anything, but she has chronic back pain. She has to go to a certain doctor, like, in Chicago or something, like, once a month to go get her prescription, and she has to jump through, like, all these extra hoops, especially with the pain medication she takes, because of, like, the whole, like, pain pill addiction thing that's been happening lately.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
So it's just like, how, if you can't, like, physically prove something, how, even, like, as, like, a medical professional, how would you go about differentiating between somebody who actually has, like, a serious illness and somebody who's just trying to get their next high?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I think there's some stuff that you can fake. There's some stuff you can't fake. I don't know, like, if you can visibly see, like, someone has, like, their bone sticking out of their arm, pretty obvious this dude's got a broken bone. If you're saying that your back hurts and stuff like that, and it hurts, you know, when I bend over this far and stuff like that, you can fake that. Like,
see, that goes back to the sick role. It's all, like, a visual thing. And that's, like, another thing, too.
Yeah, but it's also common sense.
No, like, this is what I'm getting to, though. Like, it's between looking at, like, a visual thing and, like, being able to, like, prove it through testing and stuff like that. Then you bring in mental illness into this picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is, like, really important because a lot of people are affected by mental illness and they don't even know it.
Yeah.
Like over 60% of adults will have some form of depression in their lifetime, and a majority of them won't even be treated because they don't even know that they have it, unless it's like a severe thing where they're like having suicidal thoughts and stuff like that. So it's like, how do you go about a whole entire medical field when it's like with this like sick rule thing, when mental illness isn't necessarily like a physical thing?
Well, mental illness is something that's pretty recent that we've started to really get into, and really we don't even understand it still. We still don't understand it. We're coming up with all these new pills and stuff like this to try to rework your brain. Not long ago, we were giving lobotomies. One of the Kennedy kids, JFK, I think one of his sisters got a lobotomy. They cut off your frontal lobe, and you essentially become like a zombie. That's not that long ago, you know? And there's still so many things that we don't understand about the brain, just because you can't really get in there and look at somebody while they're alive and like sit there and examine their brain. You can't kill somebody and be like, okay, we're going to use your brain for research. The only time you can really look at somebody's brain is after they died. Like most recently, there was a football player named Junior Seau, and there's a whole thing that's coming out right now with NFL and concussion protocols and brain damage and stuff like that. He had some form of the illness from all the concussions that led to severe depression. He ended up shooting himself. He shot himself in the chest on purpose to kill himself rather than shoot his brain, so that way they could examine his brain and see what was going on. So that's one of the things where it's hard to get any research on somebody that has a mental illness. You have to identify the mental illness first, and when you're doing that, they have to be alive. And then,
they do a lot more like testing than you think they would. I don't remember what the exact is. It's like a CT scan or MRI. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
That's cool.
But like, they can like take a person who's like doesn't have any mental illness, and they could like take somebody who has depression, and they can look at these different things, and they do like these different tests, and if you like test positive for this stuff, like different parts of your brain actually like light up, whereas like the other person wouldn't. I totally wish I had my abnormal psychology book with me, because you could totally see all this stuff, but it's just like really interesting. And especially like this whole sick rule thing is super interesting, when not even like with doctors, just like in society in general. Because like, say like how you were talking, if you call into work and you're like, oh, I like can't come into work today, like my anxiety is really bad. If you do that versus, oh, like I can't come into work, like I've been up all night puking.
There's something about that though. Like if you're calling in because your anxiety is bad, if it's really that bad, there's medication that you can go out and get. There's medication now that helps with anxiety, whether it's Xanax or something like that. You can go out and do that. That
doesn't necessarily make you 100% functionable though.
If you're functional enough to go to work, that's all they care about. Same thing with if you're sick.
But if you're not, they're not going to give you as much leeway if you actually have anxiety versus puking your guts out all night.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can't verify that someone's got anxiety. It's just, and it's something that's not exactly common either. It's not like this is.
It's actually a lot more common than you think it is.
Okay, when you say something like that, that's kind of a blanket term. When you say something like that, I'm not seeing any numbers or anything for that.
Pull it up.
Okay. But yeah, you got to be careful with those blanket terms on something like that. I'm pretty sure all of us have known someone that you would say has some sort of mental disorder, whether it's like schizophrenia or they're just like really high-strung, ADD or something like that. I mean...
Okay. This is another thing, too. I just pulled it up.
Okay.
Especially depression and anxiety, the majority of people who suffer from these things these disorders are a lot of times like comorbid, so that means like if they have one, they more than likely have another one. Like it's not just one thing. But this is the American Psychological Association. Approximately 40 million American adults ages 18 and older, or about 18.1% of people in this age group in a given year, have an anxiety disorder. So no, it's not like a booming statistic, but it is more prominent than you think. 40 million people is a lot of people.
It also depends on severity too. Like, you can lie about the severity. It's just...
There's also different types.
Yeah.
Like, there's the generalized anxiety disorder. There's social anxiety. There's quite a few different things.
Yeah. I think that mental disorder is going to be one of the things that we look back years down the road, and it's like, how the hell could we have handled that so poorly? But at the same time, when you're looking at something like the sick roll and like calling in to work, like, if everybody feels down, everybody has bad days, everybody can feel anxious, you know, it's like,
but it's more
they
to
still
it than that, though.
they still strap up and they go to work and they get their shit done, and then they go home and they handle it and they cope with it however you can. Because you're having issue coping with it, you're going to make it harder on everybody else at work because you can't cope with something. That's a mental disorder. It's not physically limiting you, it's mentally limiting you. But you don't have the coping mechanisms to deal with this.
But why should physical health trump mental health?
Because
your mental health should be just as important as your physical health.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be, but when it's not physically stopping you from moving and going to work and performing a physical action. It's not physically stopping you from doing that. You're mentally creating a roadblock for yourself and saying, I don't want to do this because I'm not feeling it today, whether I'm anxious or depressed or whatever. You are mentally making a choice to do this. Your body is not physically preventing you from doing something.
You're still trumping physical health over mental health.
Because there is, in terms of like doing a job, in terms of doing your work, that is a big thing. You have to physically be there. You don't have to necessarily mentally be there for some jobs. Some jobs are just really simple, repetitive bullshit where you can mentally check out and do whatever. Other jobs, like if you're a secretary or something like that, where you have to be on the ball mentally, and it's not necessarily as physical of a job, okay, you're starting to cross into that territory now where it is kind of important. But like, it's just an area of gray. It's like, if you look at it and you dissect it, it's like, okay. But I mean, at some point you have to physically be there, and it is going to trump physically. That's just how it's going to be. If you can't physically, that's a big thing that they say with like actors and your job. 90% of it is just showing up. That's all it is. 90% of it is you just show up. That's how you don't get fired. That's how you make a movie. You have to physically be there. And then the mental thing, I mean, there's workarounds for that. Like, you've had it where you had a shitty day and then you go to work and you interact with somebody at work, whether it be a customer or, one of your co-workers, that they might be able to kind of help you feel better, whether, whatever it is. But if you're not physically there and you've already checked out mentally, you've already lost the battle.
You don't get, though, like, with mental illness, with certain disorders and stuff, if you get to a point where it's bad enough, it can physically ail you too. Like, I don't know if you've ever experienced, like, a panic attack where you're, like, hyperventilating and you can pass out.
It happens.
What would they say then, just because you physically showed up to work and you weren't mentally taking care of yourself?
What does that last part mean? What are you getting on about there?
Like, you're saying, like, okay, so this might make me biased because I haven't suffered from anxiety for a long time, but what if I just, like, can't handle going into work because I have, like, a very bad, like, episode of anxiety, and I just go to work because I'm physically fine, but then I go to work and I start hyperventilating and have a panic attack and end up passing out.
Then you're not physically fine, obviously. That's happening.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, why would you push yourself mentally, even though you can physically do it, and end up, like, hurting yourself physically and mentally? Why?
If you have a history of panic attacks, you know what a panic attack is. You know how to handle it. You can see them coming on. If this is
you
your
don't
first,
see them coming on.
you absolutely do.
No, you don't.
You do.
No, you don't.
Okay. If you have a history of panic attacks, you know it's a thing. You'll start noticing signs, whether it's shortness of breath, you're lightheaded, things like that. You have signs of this. There's signs for this. If you've had it happen before, you know it can happen again. And a panic attack is a pretty serious thing. People.
Okay, so let's say.
Hold on. Let me finish. People liken this to a heart attack. It's a very, very extreme episode. People often go to the hospital because of this, because they think they're dying. You are aware of this. You're aware that you have this condition and this kind of stuff happens. Whether you choose to go and find medical assistance, that's on you. That's the same thing with depression. That's the same thing with panic attacks. Whether or not you go and you start seeking medical attention, that's on you. That's the first step. I don't know, like, you can deal with that. Like, if you get sick at work, if you vomit at work, then you get sent home. It happens. It just happens. But it's like, it doesn't seem like you're making an effort. You're not physically trying to make an effort. Like, mentally, everyone's got, like, shit going on. Everybody has shit, and if you can't, like, mentally, like, try to cope with it, or at least give an effort. Like, I think that's all jobs are asking for, is just give a fucking effort. Something. Like, if you physically, honest to God, like, if you have vertigo or something like that and you can't get out of bed, okay, we get it. You can't physically come in. It wouldn't be safe. But, I mean, it's like, come on. Come on.
Okay, so back to what you just said about, like, you can see the signs. Like, you can start to notice when you're, like, having a panic attack and stuff. Say you're at work and you go tell your boss, and they don't physically see anything wrong with you. I mean, you can kind of fake shortness of breath. So what if they're like, oh, just go back to work?
If you're having a panic attack, it's very rare that you're going to see somebody, like a boss, not take these kind of things serious.
I've seen it before.
I'm sure there's examples of everything.
That's what I'm saying, though. Like, people, that's like my whole point, is people don't take mental illness as serious as they do physical illness, because it's not, like, a visible thing.
Because it's not going to kill you. It's not going to kill you that you're just sitting there and you're starting to freak out a little bit anxiously. It's not going to fucking kill you.
But I'm saying, like, most mental illnesses are comorbid with other things, and eventually that can kill you. Like, yeah, because that can lead to, like, suicide and stuff, and yeah, that's, like, your choice. But that, like, mental like, health is very important because of that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I'm trying to think of how I can continue on with this. I don't know, but when you, like, look at the panic attack example, and you walk up to your boss and you're just like, I'm pretty sure that if you're starting to have a panic attack, like you said, with how sudden it is, if you're starting to notice the symptoms, I think it's going to be pretty goddamn obvious. And I think that in most places, the boss is going to be like, okay, well, if it's actually getting this bad, go chill out and do whatever you need to do until you're able to come back. Because they can't use a person that's not able to do their job. And until you can get your job set and you can actually perform your duties, they're not going to have you do it. Even if it's at, like, an assembly line. If you're sitting there and you have a panic attack and you fucking pass out, they're going to stop everything. Someone's going to watch out for you.
Well, see, that's the other thing, though, too. Like, and that's another thing why, like, physical illnesses are given more, like, validity than mental illness, because, like, even though you can, like, still go to work if you have a mental illness or whatever, that's still another hoop that you have to jump through just because you can't physically show your illness.
I mean, if you physically have an illness, you have to do things to make it feel better too. If I break my arm, I have to go to the doctor and get my bone reset.
But you don't have to. If you're like have a broken arm, you don't have to walk into your job and be like, "Oh, look, my arm's sticking out." You see that?
Pretty sure you do. A lot of places ask for a medical note now.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have to go in there and show them to like prove your point and then go to the doctor like how you would with a mental illness. Like, yeah, you still might have to bring in a doctor's note, but you don't have to go in there and, like, prove it to them.
It's because a physical illness is a lot more easy to verify than a mental illness. You have people that have taken advantage of the system that have said that they have migraines. And I've seen it before, too. I'm sure that there's someone that you've worked with that you've looked at them and be like, this person is fucking lazy and they don't want to be at this job. And so they get something, whether it's, like, medical leave or something like that, where they can say, whether it's true or not, I'm sure that there has absolutely been someone that has gamed the system. There's always one bad apple that ruins it for the bunch. It's always been that way. And if I'm a business owner, if I'm a manager of a store or a factory or whatever, if I'm the one running this and I see Billy throw up in the trash can, I can obviously see that something is not right with Billy. If Judy comes up to me and says she's having some issues, like she's just not there mentally, it's like, okay, well, everything seemed fine yesterday. How come all of a sudden, you're saying that you have these things? I can't see any evidence that this is actually bothering you. So go get a medical note. You can't just hand out, letting people leave left and right. Otherwise, everyone's going to be like, oh, well, if they're not getting in trouble for feeling like ill and having like a migraine, then I don't feel like going into work today, so I'm going to say that I have a migraine because they don't check it.
You could still check it by them like going to the doctor or something.
Why is that wrong then for a mental illness as well?
I'm not saying that's wrong. Like, I'm saying they could still go check that, but it's just you're missing the point.
Then explain the point for me. If I'm missing it, explain it to me.
Okay, all I'm saying is this should be more important than what it is, and because...
I agree with you.
No, I'm just saying, like, I just think it's messed up how people have to jump through extra hoops to prove something's wrong when they say it's wrong.
It's just because a mental illness isn't as easily verifiable. That's like the same thing where it's like, okay, imagine you and I are like gonna get dinner. We're trying to think of a place to go. It's like, if you don't actually tell me where you want to go and eat, how the hell am I gonna know? I can't read your mind. I don't know what's going on inside your noggin. I don't know. I don't know what you're feeling right now. I don't know what you're thinking right now. But if you actually tell me and you give me a physical response, then I can understand you. That's why. A mental illness, you cannot physically comprehend. You can't see it. If someone's not giving you any signals, you have no idea.
Okay, so based off of that logic with the whole dinner thing, what would be the difference of me telling you I want Whataburger for dinner, or instead of you like asking me what's wrong or something and I tell you my anxiety's bad? Like, why, just because you can't physically see it, why does that invalidate how I'm like mentally feeling?
Usually if it's so bad that you can't do something, there should be some sort of distress signal. If you're honestly having that big of anxiety, we should be able to tell that there is something genuinely off about you. There is going to be some sort of a signal that says, hey, I'm not doing okay. If you're really having that bad of anxiety today and you were fine yesterday to where you seem relatively normal the other day, there's going to be like a baseline. It's like, this person seems normal this day, blah, 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 blah. But on this day, you just seem a little, jumpy and high-strung and really tense. There's warning signs. You can obviously tell there's going to be a physical sign that something's wrong with this person. And you can go from there and you can address it from there. But if someone's just like, I don't feel well today, my brain's just not all here, I think I should go home. If I can't see that something's actually wrong, I'm going to think that this person's a fucking liar.
Okay, so going back to the whole, thing with my professor and her mom.
With chronic back pain?
How would you do that?
How would I do what?
How would you... Okay, so I'm pretty sure she's had this for, 15 years.
Okay.
And, she literally, cannot function without this medication. I don't remember, what it is exactly, but she has medication she has to get. And, because of, the people who abuse this, she gets, looks and, scrutiny from, doctors and stuff saying she's, abusing it. It's just, how do you... trying to think of how to word it. How would you even deny somebody something that they need? It's hard, because that's, the whole point of this whole, sick roll thing, is it all goes back to, visually being able to verify something or being able to, medically test it.
People have different tolerances. I think that's pretty fair to say. You can handle different amounts of pain than I can. You just have different tolerances for different stuff. If you see something gross, it might affect you a little bit more than me. It's just how it is. Everyone's different. And I'm sure that there's been studies. It's if it's so bad, give them this. This will take care of something of this level. People, the way that people say things, the way people address things is different. And if you're a doctor as well, I mean, people are getting jumped for malpractice left and right. There is a big thing going on with people getting addicted to pain medication. It's huge right now. So, I mean, it is gonna put a few people in a shitty spot. It definitely is. But it sucks that you have to jump through a few hoops, but it's the whole thing with a couple bad apples ruin the whole bunch. That's just how it is, unfortunately. Is it always right? No. Is it always fair? No. But, I mean, unfortunately, that's just the way it is, because you do have people that do shitty things, and shitty stuff just happens, and you gotta find ways to deal with it. And you have to cover your ass all the time, and if you're a doctor, you need to cover your ass. Otherwise, you're going to lose your business, you're going to lose your well-being, you're going to lose your fucking life. All because you wrote somebody a prescription and they fucking took it too far.
But how would you decide if somebody's abusing that?
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. There's a reason why I'm not a doctor. I'm sure that they have ways that they do it. I'm sure that there's things that they look at. There's always going to be a sign of something. There's always going to be evidence of something. They're always going to be able to look at something, and that's how they make their judgments. They don't just wildly do stuff like that. And if they do something wildly, a lot of times it ends poorly. That was a big thing. Doctors were giving out medication way too often, and it's still a big thing. Doctors give out different medicines that you don't need way too easily. You can go out and you can get a medical marijuana license pretty easily. Just say that you have insomnia or you have a headache. Boom, you got a prescription. My back's starting to hurt. Boom, you have prescription painkillers. You're playing the NFL. Boom, they're giving you opiates. It's given out like candy. It's that point. And now there's some backlash from it because you're seeing people addicted to things like Oxycontin and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what happened with my stepdad.
Yeah.
And he's like a heroin addict.
Yeah,
now.
There's a huge backlash from this because it's all coming to light now, and it's making it difficult for some people. It's like the whole gluten thing you were talking about. There's people that have a genuine gluten allergy, and because other people are like, oh, well, I don't want gluten in my body, not because I'm allergic, but just because I don't want it in my body. Now they're making it more difficult to find food for people that actually do have a gluten allergy and they cannot consume gluten. It's just an unfortunate thing. You have just a couple bad apples ruin the whole bunch. That's all I can say about it, honestly. Do you have anything to add to that, or should we go to the food review?
Guess it's time for the food review.
Food review? Okay. So we'll be back in just a second here with some quick Movie magic editing. We're back. Okay, so we went ahead and we made ourselves some Coca-Cola floats. So we have some vanilla ice cream and the classic Coca-Cola. Depending on your little ingredients, your results may vary. So we're going to go ahead, go in with our first bites. So in contrast, there's the classic root beer float that everybody knows about. You put ice cream and you pour root beer over top of it. Everyone knows about a root beer float. But when you do a Coca-Cola, it's different. First impressions are good, I would say.
Is this the first time you've had one?
Mm-hmm. This is the first time I've ever had a Coca-Cola float. I like it.
It's a distinct taste.
Absolutely is.
And it's almost like contradicting.
I was gonna
Kind
say
of
that-
like how like the root beer floats, it's all just like sweet. Like the Coke kind of contradicts with the ice cream a little bit.
It darn near doesn't even taste like Coke, really.
Mm-mm.
It's just like, I don't know, it's a substance. The good thing about this is that it's really cheap, and you can make a lot of Coke floats. We've done 3 here. We've used 2 cans of pop for 2 bowls and a glass of our Coke floats. And everything that you need for this is really cheap, like $3 for ice cream and $2 maybe for the 12-pack of Coke. So what, $5, and you'll get what? I'd say 10, 12 Coke floats.
However much ice cream, I think.
Depending on how
your ice cream will run out before your Coke does.
Yeah, that's probably depending if you use a certain amount.
Well, as I said, individual results may vary.
Mm-hmm. I have a mystery ingredient in mine. I actually put homemade peanut butter cookies.
Yeah, what do you think of it?
Into our Coke float. It's really good.
Really?
It adds like a really good like sugary coat right at the end of the Coke. Because when you bite into the ice cream, it's like, okay, that's ice cream. And then you get the taste of the Coke, which kind of comes in behind it.
Okay.
And it doesn't taste like really like Coke, but you can kind of taste like a kind of a cola in the back.
Yeah.
And then it moves into the peanut butter sugary on top.
All right, I'm gonna try the
It's
same
pretty good.
thing. I'm gonna get a whole. So we got a nice Coca-Cola broth with the ice cream chunk and the cookie chunk.
It's a nice summer treat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Down in Texas, it's hot down here.
Hot as
wow.
dicks.
So this is it's actually pretty. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like it comes in 3 stages: the ice cream, and then the Coke around the ice cream, and then it breaks into the peanut butter cookie.
I see what you're talking about here. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty darn good.
My favorite part about root beer floats and Coke floats as well is the ice crystals that form on the ice cream. It's
I was
my
going to mention
favorite
that.
part. I love that.
It has like a fluff to it, like a little cloud.
Mm-hmm.
When you first pour the Coke into the ice cream, it kind of fizzes a little bit, and then it comes down into like a little cloudy
It's wonderful.
texture.
That's my favorite part. Is it gives it like almost like a crisp.
It's kind of like when you were a kid, and you know how you used to get milk with a straw.
Yeah.
When you used to blow the air into the milk, and it would
Mm-hmm.
create bubbles. It's kind of like that, except with ice cream and pop.
The Coke part almost kind of tastes like when you have like a Coke slushie. Like if you ever had one of those at the movies before,
Okay.
kind of
Yep.
tastes like that.
I can definitely see that kind of taste. Yeah. Except you don't have to pay $13 at AMC for a fucking large Coke float.
Absolutely true. AMC, please support this podcast. I like this. I thought this was really good. I went ahead and I even drank my soupy broth, and I finished this bad boy off. Grilling in.
Yeah, you're quite swift.
Oh, I don't mess around when it comes to ice cream. I go all
I was
in.
swift in the last food review, if I remember.
The
I think I was-
the
yeah.
Dorito one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was done much faster, but you had a concoction.
I was gonna
of
say I was
sauces.
grabbing dips, going in, grading out dips. It was wonderful.
Mhm.
It was a blast. Blasty
And we
blast.
did a scale of 10, correct?
Scale of 1 to 10. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I'll have 2 scales here because I did with cookie and without cookie. So, yeah. Spoiler alert, it's not going to be bad for either. So, I thought this was really good. Karina, you want to go ahead and kind of break it down, a scale of like 1 to 10, and like some of your thoughts on your little concoction?
I'm gonna give it a 9.
9 out of 10?
It's pretty tasty. I think one of my favorite things about it too is like when you eat like the ice cream and stuff, and you kind of drink the rest of it. So I think like when you compare this to other like ice cream treats and stuff, especially in the summer, it's kind of more hydrating.
Yeah, it's
because like other ice creams, you might eat like an ice cream cone, you get like super thirsty, and this doesn't do that. So
yeah, you have like it's like a double threat here. You have something you can actually eat, and then you have a little something to drink.
I mean, Coke isn't exactly the most nutritious or like hydrating thing, but it definitely doesn't give you that like, oh, I need water feeling like other ice creams do.
Yeah. So you gave it a 9 out of 10. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, and same thing with the cookie. I didn't think the cookie really added or took away too much. I thought it did, like you were saying, Blake, it has like its own separate taste, so I don't think it really adds or takes away from the concoction too much.
Yeah, with the cookie, it's almost like a cookie sandwich.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's like you dropped your cookie sandwich inside of a bowl of Coke.
Yeah.
And it turned into that.
Yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10. I liked it. Like I said, the texture, that was definitely my favorite part, is when it gets the ice crystals on it from the ice cream and the Coke. It's my favorite part. The soup was good. It was like I was drinking like a vanilla Coke. You had the classic Coke tang to it. It was just good. It was good. I would put it up there with a root beer float, absolutely. So 9 out of 10 for me, 9 out of 10 for Karina. Blake, what are you giving it?
I give it 9.5.
9.5 out of 10. Okay, that's very, very solid. So is that it? Are we done, guys? Time to wrap up.
I would say 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, because I'm not a big fan of desserts, really. So
oh, that's
not the perfect score.
Okay,
but it's a good snack for people that like creamy, rich snacks.
Absolutely.
It's like sweet, but it's not too sweet.
It's kind of like
it's not like overpowering.
Yeah. And the cookie really helped. Honestly, the cookie kind of nullified the really sweet, creamy.
That really helped it for you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you heard it here. Coke Float got an average like 9.4 out of 10. Going off. Get yourself a Coke Float. Sit down, relax, enjoy yourself. Thanks for checking out the podcast, everybody. This is Sam, Karina, and Blake. All saying goodbye. Everyone say goodbye.
Bye. Fuckers.